how we choose to dress ourselves is how we want to be perceived in this world, is a representation of our values. So you have to start, choosing the items in your wardrobe, very consciously, very selective.
Welcome back to the Wellness Dojo podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Craig, and I'm excited to bring in today's guest. Our guest today is Curran. He is the co-founder of Local Laundry. They're a company that's dedicated to creating change using Canadian materials and socially conscious materials. I believe you guys have raised over $70,000 to date for local charities with a goal of raising 1 million by 2030. Is that correct, Connor?
But those numbers are a little outdated. That's probably we got to probably update our website. We're closer to 160,000.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. So we're
that's
cooking.
awesome, man.
Thank you.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to have a fun conversation. Um, your company it's eye-catching. The website, as I was looking through it, just lots of really cool stuff you have going on. Can you first tell us just a little bit about what Local Laundry is and how it all got started?
Definitely. So, Local Laundry, we're Canada's most caring clothing company. We're entirely Canadian-made clothing company with a mission to make everyone's laundry local and to raise $1 million local charities by 2030, just to showcase that just because we're a small business doesn't mean we can't have a big impact. And so the business really got started back in 2015. I was studying abroad in Sweden, and I really wanted something that represented where we came from, represented Calgary, what I believe were the values of Calgary, and you use it as a way to connect with other people. I really saw clothing as a great way to share your values, to represent your values, wear your heart on your sleeve, and connect with others with those similar values. So I wanted to find something that represented my values as a Calgarian, as a young Calgarian. And I just, the I Heart Calgary stuff, the Calgary Flame stuff, like it just wasn't doing it for me. It wasn't me, right? So I just thought maybe I could take a stab at this. So I did what anyone does when they have a crazy idea, and I Google searched how to make a t-shirt company. I watched a YouTube video, and lo and behold, $50 later, in a couple hours, I had an online t-shirt company. So a lot of people think it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of expertise to start a business. I'm here to prove the opposite. You can have no money, not know a thing, and not know what to do and start a business. It's easy. Starting a business is hard. Keeping a business going. No, starting a business is easy. Keeping a business going is hard. So
Yeah, no, it's so cool that again, as I'm looking through the website and stuff and just seeing this connection that you guys have to community, this connection that you guys have to just creating social awareness and social change. Can we talk a little bit about that of like first of all, was community always a big part of the idea, or was it initially just like I want to start my own business, I want to make money, selling clothing? Where did community kind of come in along?
community is right from the very heart and get go. The brand actually started as Calgary Community T-shirts. I thought the big ticket item was making T-shirts for all the different communities in Calgary. We had a Kensington shirt, Forest Lawn shirt, Myrtle Loop, 17th Ave. Nobody wanted those shirts. So then we slowly realized that, there's the YYC design was the one that became really popular. So we started doing that, but community was always at the very mindset. I wanted to connect with others. Like I said, I wanted to connect with others that shared the same values as me, that had the same sort of, respect and love for the city as we did. And so it was always built with community in mind. Right from the very get-go, we donated to charities, portion of sales from every t-shirt. And again, it started small. We weren't selling a ton of t-shirts at the beginning. And I just wanted to use it as a way to connect with others.
Yeah. I like what you said too about how, some of these other visions or almost brands of what it means to be Calgarian or Canadian, they just didn't really align. Like we look at some of these shirts not to, I love Banff and stuff, but you go to Banff and you look at some of these shirts that are there, it's like always like a moose or a beaver or these cliche Canadian things that, those of us who, I was also born and raised in Calgary. It's like you look at that, you're like, that doesn't represent me. Like I've maybe seen a moose maybe like once or twice in my life. Like, so can you speak to that a little bit of like, was part of that just like wanting to be represented or wanting to represent the right way?
Yeah, it was exactly that. I wanted to represent Calgary while I was traveling abroad. I wanted something that shared my values, right? And again, that same thing. Not interested in the I Heart Calgary shirts, the RCMP Moose cartoon shirts, and the thing that really bothered me about all those shirts is that they were made overseas. So I was
Mm,
like, what does that really like? How does this really represent me? A shirt, made overseas that has, I Heart Calgary, that doesn't represent my values. I wanted something that was local. Everyone really supports local craft beer, farm to table food. There's a big push. Like, why hasn't that translated over to our wardrobe yet? Why
mm.
hasn't that, translated into our laundry? And that took us a while to kind of comprehend, because at first all of our stuff was made overseas too, and it wasn't until we were about 2 years in the business that we decided to make that switch and go fully 100% Canadian made. And now, we're just on a mission to make clothing more responsibly and make stuff that lasts, right? Make stuff that people actually want to wear, that they feel good wearing, both on the inside and outside. And simple as that, make everyone's laundry local.
Yeah, that I really like what you said there too about like how people feel on the inside and on the outside, right? Because oftentimes when we first think about clothes, we think about like, okay, I wake up in the morning and you have this idea of what do I want to look like today? Well, how do I want to represent myself today? And it's so cool to see companies like you guys at Local Laundry who are really tapping into helping people represent their core values within their clothing, within their choice of what am I putting on my body today? What do I want to say to the world about my core values?
100%. I say that's something I say all the time, is that how we choose to dress ourselves is either a conscious or subconscious representation of how we want to be perceived in this world, and it's a subconscious or conscious representation of our values. Right? You and I both, we made conscious decisions for how we wanted to dress today. Right? We both wear hoodies. What does that say about us? Right? We don't take ourselves too seriously. We like to be casual, comfortable. All these things. Whether you made that conscious decision to be all those things, or maybe it was a subconscious decision, but how we choose to dress ourselves, I find it so important. How we choose to dress ourselves is how we want to be perceived in this world, is a representation of our values. So you have to start, choosing the items in your wardrobe, very consciously, very selective. And, we get it. Our clothing is very expensive. It's very expensive to make clothing here in Canada. You have to pay a living wage. You have to pay Canadians. Canadian labor is some of the highest in the world. But, that's okay. There's a reason. There's a reason for that. They're paid. The manufacturers that we utilize are adhering to strict Canadian labor and environmental laws. They're working in healthy, safe working conditions. And so those who can afford to support Canadian made, it goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, super cool what you guys are doing. And I'd really like to kind of dive into community a bit because I think that's so important is when we look at clothing and representing your core values with clothing, it's the same thing that we're doing within communities. I have communities, I teach martial arts, I teach fitness classes and build communities online just like you guys do. And there's specific core values that attract people to specific communities. What does community really mean to you guys? Because it's such a broad word. When you say community, that could mean charities, that could mean your friends, your family. What does community mean to you guys?
Community to me is bringing together like-minded individuals in order to support one another, right? And that's something that we love to do, that we're addicted to doing, whether that's raising money for different charities across the city, or whether it's connecting with people like yourself, other small business owners, people just looking to do something different, give back, build something, do something cool. And it's how can we help each other? We talked to just yesterday, we talked to another Calgary clothing company, been around the same time as us. Some would see them as a competitor. We see them as a collaborator. It's I would rather they buy one of their sweaters than go down to the mall and buy an Abercrombie and Fitch sweater. You know what I mean? So and I think that's something it seems like it's pretty unique to Calgary. You know, you hear of other people starting businesses or living in other cities like Toronto or Vancouver, and it's a little bit more cutthroat, a little bit more dog eat dog, that nobody is, forthcoming with helping or wanting to build community, or it's more quid pro quo. I'll do this for you, but you got to do this for me. Where
Mm.
here it's just like, now let's help each other. I'll help you somewhere down the line. Someone else is going to help me down the line. Someone else is going to help someone else. What goes around comes around. And that's a pretty unique spirit here in Calgary.
Yeah, it's really interesting to hear you say it like that, because like as you're saying that of like what community means to you, it really, to me, that's like what represents Canada for me, as like somebody who's grown up in Canada. When I think about like what is Canada, like how do I represent Canada? Well, if I was to describe it to somebody, I would say it's a place where like people are welcoming, people are, that's always kind of been the brand that I've grown up around. Like what is Canadian? It's people who are willing to help each other, people who lift each other up and support each other. So really cool to hear that alignment there.
Yeah. To me, being Canadian, it comes down to empathy, right? That's the one word I'd use to describe fellow Canadians is we're empathetic to each other, to the planet, to the people, to our communities. We see things from each other's perspective. It's not just I'm going to look out for me and that's it. It's a very, very community minded focus. And I think you can look back at a couple of different reasons why that is. You look at our shared history, you look at even just something as simple as fact as our extreme weather here, with the snow. We've all been, we've all experienced the extreme weather and someone coming to boost our car, whether our car
Yeah.
battery's dead or little simple things like that. So it's a number
Yeah.
of things, but that's definitely what makes us Calgarian, Albertan, Canadian, something we're really proud of. And we hope that our clothing can act as a conduit to that, right? That our clothing can kind of represent those values and the best of what Canadians and Calgarians and Albertans represent, right? That feeling of empathy, that feeling of community. And that's what we strive for, that our clothing just doesn't become clothing, that it becomes so much more, right? And that's what it means when your laundry is truly local, right?
Yeah. What is it for for somebody like you, who's like, you guys from the outside looking in, you guys have really built a great community. You guys have built a strong community. You've got a ton of support around you, and you're also providing, giving that support back. What have been some of the most difficult things for you about actually building community? Like what were some of the struggles along the way or the biggest things?
I mean, I wouldn't say it'd be difficult, but it takes time, right? I think that's what we've been doing this for 7 years now, right? And how you build a community is one authentic relationship at a time, right? It's taking the time to sit down, get to know someone, spend time with them, and help them. And over time, you do that with enough people, you will build a strong and authentic community, and a community that you can lean on. We're very much a brand that was built by the community, that is very much supported by the community. I give the example of, we moved into this warehouse in April. We had no money to buy furniture, so we just put it out to our community and say, does anyone have any extra furniture they want to get rid of? We are looking to furnish our warehouse, and we had people like just left, right, and center offering us desks, tables, chairs, bookcases, whatever we needed, shelving. And it would just gave me a really warm, fuzzy feeling that we're very much supported by the community, and it's been phenomenal. So I wouldn't say there's anything difficult about it, but it takes time, and you have to be authentic. I mean, people can smell inauthenticity a mile away. And so if you're just looking to connect with someone just to see how you can use them, people, they can detect that a mile away. So it's about being real, authentic, generous with your time and resources, and then just knowing that it takes time. It's something that grows through the power and magic of compounding interest,
Mm.
right? And it's one that we're very, very, very thankful of. We feel very, very supported of.
Yeah, that authenticity is such a such an important point to make. And it's something I was going to ask you about too, is like when building that community, when looking towards that, I think that's one of the maybe more difficult parts of even starting a small business. And, like you said, like starting it is, the easy part. Keeping it going is the hard part because it's really easy to get stuck in this money chasing and got to make ends meet. And then to try and build community on top of that, it's like it has to come from an authentic place where it's like, yeah, like authentically do just want to support other people and then without any expectation that that support's going to come back our way. And I think that's where people like you guys see that success is like, then when I do need the support, we feel it, right?
100%. And yeah, we've asked for help multiple times, and the community responds well. So, um, yeah, it's you get what you put into it. And Calgary is a very entrepreneurial city. Hard work's rewarded here. People, you don't have to come for money to start a successful business. You don't have to, come from a ton of experience to build community and to succeed in your field. It's a very magical place here. It's a place that rewards hard work, rewards innovation and ingenuity, and allows and fosters that those connections and community building.
Yeah. And do you find that that's something that's difficult, like as your community continues to grow? Because you guys are doing lots of really cool things I see on socials. Like even I saw you guys had like a basketball game and stuff recently, like just bringing community together. Do you find it becomes more difficult as the community grows to continue to stay in touch and continue to engage and could just continue to build it really?
Yeah, it definitely, the bigger you get and the more people you add, it can become challenging, but it's just consistency and constantly finding ways to interact, to help. And so it's little things, right? So yeah, we started a business basketball club last week, and we had 20 guys come play basketball and it was a ton of fun. We also have like our business book club where we all read a business book once a month. We have over 100 members from all across Canada. In the Christmas time, we had our small business gift exchange, and we had over 100 small businesses sign up instantaneously all across Canada, and we all did like a massive Secret Santa with a bunch of small businesses, and that was really cool and heartwarming. And then of course, like we have our Start and Beers events where it's just like a networking event for people who hate networking events, like myself, and so we all just get together, and it's not about name tags or handing out business cards or any of that. It's about, here's what I do, here's what I can help with, and here's what I need help with.
Mm.
And then you go around the room, everyone introduces himself like that, and then by the end of the night, you know exactly who to talk to, exactly who you can help, exactly who can help you. And it's fun. So you just got to keep thinking of ways to consistently engage with the community, to find new ways to build community, stay in touch. And social is a great way of doing it. Stuff like, big thank you to yourself for giving people like me a platform to share our story, right? Like, you're an invaluable member to the community, right? So it's it's just finding new ways and staying on top of it. But the most importantly, having fun, right?
Mm.
What's the point if you're not having fun? And it's all casual. Like, yeah, we don't charge for our events. We don't charge for book club or anything. Some of it's has donations as tickets and that kind of thing. So it's it's a ton of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, everything that I see you guys doing and see that you guys are involved in, it does, that resonates. It looks like you guys are having fun. Looks like you guys are enjoying the process, which is so important. And you kind of answered this question, but I'm going to ask it anyways. When we do look at building a business and building community around that business, we know the benefits of that it brings back to the business. I'm curious, what are some of the personal benefits that you maybe feel as like a business owner who has a lot of pressure on your shoulders and, being the organizer of a lot of these events, is there value in being a part of those events for you personally as well?
Yeah, oh yeah. Personally, I mean, it's twofold. I mean, hey, like, these have become all my new friends. My friends from before when I started small business, they're great, but we just we've evolved differently and different interests. And, I'm not a sports guy. I don't want to go hang out with a bunch of people and watch a sports game, but you want to come over and, have some food and drink and brainstorm ideas like business ideas or marketing or branding or social, like heck yeah. So, I've been able to meet a lot of really close friends through this community building and networking, which I absolutely love. Some really incredible, passionate, smart, kind people. But also, entrepreneurship, the other thing is entrepreneurship is a lonely journey. It's a roller coaster ride of emotions. One day you're riding an extreme high because you landed a big deal or you got a raving customer review or had a good sales day. And the next day you're hit rock bottom. You've ran out of cash. You've had an incident with the customer or whatever, it's an absolute roller coaster ride of emotions, extreme highs, extreme lows, and nobody else gets that except other entrepreneurs. So kind of have that almost like a support network, someone you can just a shoulder to cry on, someone saying like, hey, how's business? Be like, man, I'm struggling with this thing. Do you have any advice? Can you help? Instead of just like, hey, people outside the small business world where it's like, hey, how's business? Oh, business is good. Things are going well. And it's like, no, tell me what's going on. Cause I'm probably suffering the exact same thing. And let's, even if it's just, like I said, a shoulder to cry on or some advice or experience shares. It goes a long way to have that support system, right? Because oftentimes we're head down in our own business. It can feel very isolating and alone, but you're not alone. There's hundreds and thousands of other people do the exact same thing, just in a different way, and they're there to help.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so easy to put a mask on too, right? It's like you kind of touched on that standard response that we seem to give is like, hey, how's business for you? Oh, business is good, thanks. Like meanwhile, you were just like having a panic attack 20 minutes ago because you're stressed about this, that, and the other thing, right? It's
Because they're not in it, right? Someone who doesn't own their small business, like they don't, not that they don't care, but they don't understand, right?
yeah.
But someone who's like in it, they understand, right? And they can relate to it. So it's yeah.
Yeah. I just recently did a wellness retreat and it was my first wellness retreat that I've ever done. And so we got these people together and we basically dove deep on like purpose and goal setting and all that kind of stuff. But one of the biggest things as I got feedback from it on what people's experience were, one of the biggest things that people said was just being together with like-minded people made me feel more comfortable to actually be vulnerable and to actually have that confidence to open up about like what am I struggling with? Like where do I feel like my weak points are? Because having that community like small business owners that are coming together gives you almost that confidence to actually be able to be vulnerable and take that mask off and this person actually does understand. It's not just me. I'm not, I'm not a failure or I'm not, this super ultra successful person. Like we're all in it together, right?
100%, 100%.
Yeah, such an important thing, and I'm curious too because I want to give a shout out to your business partner as well, Dustin Paisley. What's the impact of that of having just a strong culture within an organization too?
Yeah, he's the reason why we've been able to build the brand to where it is, right? When I started, it was just kind of a side hustle and just a fun little project. But when I met Dustin, he kind of helped turn it into a big boy business, and we're very different skill sets, personalities, but that's what makes it work, right? And you need a diversity of thought in a business, and diversity of skills. And so having him kind of work through some, just have someone there when we come up against an obstacles that you're not on your own, that you can sit brainstorm, okay, how are we going to tackle this, how are we going to get through this? Someone that there is there for the long haul. It makes a world of difference. And yes, you can be successful running a business by yourself and that, but I find it's a lot easier to share the load. But it's a lot of businesses fail because they don't have strong business partner relationships, and a big part of that is because values don't align, goals don't align, personalities clash, and so we're very strategic in how we operate, always checking in, making sure that the business is giving both of us what we're looking to get out of it, and and yeah, and just checking in and making sure that we're good with each other, and everything else is all good. So it's vital, absolutely vital. And I guess that's what business is. It's just a series of relationships, and you can take that and how you treat your customers, and the relationship with your vendors, with your stakeholders, with your you name it, your suppliers. It's all relationships. Business
Yeah,
is it's just a string of relationships. So if you're no good at building relationships, you're gonna have a difficult time building a great business, because you could have the best product in the world, best service in the world, but if nobody likes to do business with you, nobody wants to do business with you, you're gonna have a much more difficult time, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. And that can translate over into real life, like most things. Like business, I've
totally.
always said, like entrepreneurship, it has taught me more in my life about me than anything else. But it's also taught me like how to have better friendships, how to set better
Yeah,
boundaries in, family life and all of these different things. It all translates across, right? If you're running a business, it's kind of like running your life as well, where if you're not being good to people, if you're not, contributing to that community wherever you are, it's going to be really hard to get anything back.
totally. I think the biggest life lesson that business has taught me is that nobody's going to build the perfect business for you. No one's going to build the perfect life for you. If you want something, you got to go out and get after it.
Yeah,
And I think that translates well within a business setting and a personal setting. you know um if you want $1 million business, you got to put in the work. If you
yeah,
want a six-pack, you got to put in the work. No one's going to do anything for you, right? So there's so many parallels and life lessons between
for
business and
sure.
personal, but I love it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it really does. It's the best. It's difficult, but I think it's the best personal development you can do is just building a business.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Do you guys have any like specific strategies that you lean on just within your culture within the organization to like you kind of mentioned checking in with each other and making sure things are still aligned with core values and stuff? I know within my different communities that I have, that's something that I'm constantly checking in on is, do our core values align? I'm curious if you guys have any specific strategies that you go back to in order to help that process.
Definitely core values is a big one. Vision, purpose, why. But more practical things is, we have daily meetings, daily
Mhm.
check-ins. We start all of our daily meetings with a one word open. How are you feeling? How would you describe how you're feeling in one word? Get a sense of, feeling tired, or, I'm feeling a little bit down, or man, I'm buzzed, I'm excited, I'm pumped, and little daily check-ins. And then accountability is a big one, right? And it's one that we've maybe not always done the greatest of job in, but it's something that we're really starting to focus on this year is being accountable to each other, and having stuff like a scorecard and metrics and key performance indicators that are cold hard truths. You've either done something or you haven't, and here's what you have done, and here's what you haven't done, and here's what we need to do, right? So accountability is a big one. Same with
Yeah.
focus. It's so easy as a small business owner to get that shiny object syndrome. This would be cool. Let's go over here. Let's do this. Let's do this. And then you lose focus. You know, the famous quote goes, the main thing should be keeping the main thing the main thing. You know what I mean? And I mean, I often get
I love that.
distracted by different opportunities, different this and that. When you say yes to something, you're saying no to 10 other things. So
Yeah.
make sure you be careful what you say yes to.
Yeah, that's a difficult thing, right? And again, something that translates so much into life where it's, I've I've even experienced that with friendships and stuff too, where you're like you're saying yes to everything, and then eventually you find yourself you're like every single weekend's booked and now I don't have time for family, or I haven't had time to actually relax and stuff. Yeah, that's so important is just keeping the main thing your main thing and you know to like zoning in on like what is the purpose, and like reminding yourself and checking in on has that purpose changed, what's our why, that type of stuff. Yeah, just super important things. Yeah,
And it's okay if things do change.
yeah.
It's okay. I mean, all alliances end at some point, right? But
Mm.
you know, all alliances end. It's all about what is it? Respecting the mission and respecting the expiration date. Things change, and that's okay. right? So it's if your values can change, your vision can change. So always constantly checking in. And one of the most difficult things we found in the last 2-3 years is there's no such thing as a 5-year business plan anymore. I mean, the world changes so fast. We're basically just focused on what's going on in the next 90 days, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's constantly checking in.
Yeah. So important. And I think that more than anything is just like a really huge point for people to take home, literally take home from this conversation is like checking in constantly, checking with yourself, checking with your people, your communities, right?
It can
It's
just be as
just,
simple as like how you're doing. Like you're feeling a little down lately. Like you don't seem yourself, or just checking on someone's mental health, or
yeah,
it goes a long way.
yeah. I want to talk a little bit more about the actual clothing. We talked about how Canadian made materials, supporting Canadians, employing Canadians, those types of things. So we know the impact that that's actually having on Canada and on Calgary. What's the value for somebody who's purchasing those things? Obviously, they feel good about aligning with their core values. What else is the value there for people who are purchasing these products that are locally made?
That's a great question, and something that we always have to keep in mind is we can say all these great things, and we're all doing these great things, but what does it do for the customer? Why should the customer care? And the number one thing we always say is when you're producing here in Canada, you're producing a quality made garment, right? Manufacturers that aren't looking to cut corners, aren't looking to cut costs. They're not looking to make a cheaper garment faster. They're looking to make a better garment last longer, right? So, it's when consumers buy Canadian made, you're buying quality, you're buying something that's going to last instead of buying something that's you wear for one season and then it disintegrates in the wash after a couple of spins through the washing machine. You're building something that's going to last. It's timeless. It's going to last 5, 10 years, 20 years. We have one piece that we call the generational hoodie. It's a hoodie that's built so well, you're going to pass it down to your grandkids.
I love it.
It's an heirloom piece. And so in the long run, you spend a little bit more money up front, but you're spending less money in the long run, less money over time. And our wardrobes aren't just going to balloon to to massive sizes. One of the worst things, our closets have gotten so big and so full of stuff because we've gotten so addicted to just buying stuff for a bargain, finding that deal. But every morning we wake up, look at our closet with anxiety and say, I have nothing to wear. It's like you swap that out, that massive closet, for a few classic timeless pieces that you can wear over and over again. They're going to last, they're going to hold up, they're going to look good with other pieces. You'll be much happier in the long run, much healthier in the long run, and your wallet will thank you. So it's swapping quality for a discount, right?
Yeah, you're so
Discount
right.
for
Every time I look at my closet, I'm like, I got all these options.
quality.
No, I'll just wear the same one of the same four things that I usually wear, right? Like it really does. Like you tend to go back to those same things that feel good, that feel familiar, and that kind of represent you in the best way, right? And I also imagine by keeping things locally, your carbon footprint is also like you're also making a positive environmental choice by
Yeah.
supporting local.
Yeah, exactly. Because stuff is all the dyeing, the knitting, the milling, the cutting, the sewing, the printing, it's all happening here in Canada, that it's not getting, milled in one facility and then shipped over to another country to be dyed and then shipped across the ocean to be cut. It's all happening here, right? And so
Mhm.
yeah, the carbon footprint is a lot less for sure. But then you also have tighter quality control. Like we can actually go visit our manufacturer.
Yeah.
We can see it firsthand, what they're doing, um, what new innovative products they're coming out with, how are they disposing of their waste, and all this good stuff. And so your quality controls are much better. And also, like, one thing we've noticed is our shipping, like our production times are much quicker.
Mm.
Often you talk to anyone producing overseas in the last couple of years, it takes forever, and then you got to put it on a boat and it takes forever to get here, and you're going to pay an arm and a leg in shipping. or when the pandemic hit, we were well set up because our production times remained the same. They were about 4 or 5 weeks, maybe add a week for people getting sick, but they're not going to take 6 months to ship here,
Yeah.
right? So
Very cool. And I imagine there's a lot of value and feeling reward of being able to like actually go and physically hold the item and stuff versus just like an order was placed and it'll get shipped to their house. That's got to be such a cool feeling of like I have the order, it's coming to you next, like just to be able to tangibly see it and feel it, and that's got to be so cool and so rewarding for you guys.
oh, it's the best feeling in the world, saying that we made this, it is a really cool feeling. And we've experienced both. Like I said, when we first started, we didn't know any better. And our stuff was made overseas and it would just magically appear in a box at a doorstep. And we have no idea where it came from, who made it, how it was made, whatever, and it was always this kind of weird feeling. But now, we've seen the full life cycle end to end. And
Mm,
you do get a sense of pride, a sense of ownership that
so cool.
is tough to beat. Yeah.
I don't want to take up too much of your time today. Where can people find you? Where can people find local laundry? Can you give us the website and just any socials that you think people should follow?
Definitely. So our website is locallaundry.ca or locallaundry.com. And you can find us on most social channels at local laundry, LOCALLAUNDRY. And feel free to reach out anytime. Send us an email. Our phone numbers are up on the website. You can reach out because at the end of the day, we're nothing without the community. You
Mm,
can say all these things about Canadian made and how the benefits, but if the community and our customers aren't willing to spend the extra money and want to support and vote with their wallets, then it's all a moot point. So we're very, very thankful to everyone who supported us in the past. And if you've never heard of Local Laundry and you want to support us, just check us out. Feel free to reach out, ask us a question. We're the ones who answer the phones. We're the ones who answer the emails. So happy to help however we can. Or if you want to start your own clothing company or your own business, we're here. We're here to support.
yeah, fantastic, man. You mind if I put you on the spot just to end things off here?
Yeah, do it.
All right, I'm gonna ask, what are your top three recommendations? So as people are going to your website after just hearing that, top three recommendations, what should people buy?
Okay, so three things. This is a great question. I mean, you got to go with our classic YYC design. If you're in Calgary, you just moved to Calgary, you're looking to represent Calgary, you won't find anything more Calgarian than our YYC design, right? And it's something our design is simple, clean, crisp, minimalistic. If it's the thing that we like about the design is if you only know it's Calgary if you're from Calgary, if you know the airport code. If you don't, it's just three letters. So got to get something YYC. The second piece I always recommend is our heavyweight sweater. So that generational piece I was talking about, our speckled crew neck, speckled heavyweight hoodie. It's quality you can feel because it is hefty. It's
Yeah,
weighty. That things they can take a beating and take a licking and keep on
yeah.
ticking.
That's the one
It
you're wearing
is
camping, right?
that's the camp hoodie for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then the third and final one is the socks. We
Mm.
have the best socks in the world: organic cotton, bamboo, naturally antimicrobial socks, the comfiest socks in the world. And
I had
and,
a
and
I
people
had a
people
feeling you were gonna say socks.
have you tried our socks?
I haven't tried them yet. I got to though, because I keep seeing them.
People I often say like these are going to be the best socks you'll ever wear. People go, they're not going to be the best socks. They're like, come on, really? I'm like, these are going to be the best socks you'll ever wear. And if you feel any differently, you come back and let me know. And 100% of the time, people come back and be like, these are the most amazing socks I've ever put on my 2 feet.
All right, well, I'm sold. I gotta try them.
100%. And come on down to our warehouse, 4128th Street Southeast. Come on by, get hook you up with a pair and give you a little tour of the warehouse.
That'd be awesome. I'd love to. Awesome, Connor. Well, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate the conversation. This was a fun one for me just to kind of pick your brain a little bit, and community is a big passion of mine, so it's fun to dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, and again, thank you for giving people like myself the platform to share a story. I mean, you're a vital part of this community, and we wouldn't be able to do what we do without people like you. So, thanks for having me. It's a real honor.
Yeah, the honor's all mine. And thanks everybody for listening and watching. We'll see you in the next episode. Well, Wellness Ninjas, what a fun conversation that was with Connor of Local Laundry. Make sure you go check out their stuff on their website. They've got some really nice products on there. It's fun to just chat about community and what that means to other people as well. If community is something that's important for you, I encourage you to join our community. We have a free Facebook community, the Wellness Dojo's member community. As well, we have our mastermind group that is coming up on March 15th, 2023. You can join that group and receive accountability, coaching, and just access to building the foundations for wellness in your life. If that's something that you're interested in, or if you're interested in any of our other services, you can visit wellnessdojo.ca, search us on Instagram at wellnessdojoyyc, or search the Wellness Dojo on all other platforms. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you in the next episode.